Oh yes, an episode about the writer of Daring Do. This is going to be very interesting. I mean, I couldn't possibly say how this could go wrong.
AK Yearling is Daring Do!
I spoke too soon, didn't I? When I first heard about the episode Daring Do, I was immediately intrigued at the concept, which was Dash's opportunity to get to know the author. I personally found that to be a nice concept, since surely a lot of fans of a book series would want to do anything to get to know the author a bit more and explore their passion and what they like and appreciate their inspirations. However, as the episode aired, my expectations were dramatically different, as well as many others just after the episode. As a matter of fact, this alone got a huge split reception, and that isn't too much of a surprise when you see the works of Dave Polsky's previous episodes, Feeling Peaky Keen and Keep Calm and Flutter On. You just never get a break, do you, Polsky? As the episode begins, Dash is extremely excited about the next Daring Do book coming out. That isn't until Twilight addresses to her that the book has been postponed by a few more months. Wanting to know why, she and the rest of the main six venture off to find the author, AK Yearling. They find their home, which is completely trashed, so they investigate to figure out what happened, and then she arrives.
Yearling? We didn't do this! We swear!
What have you done to my house?
Eventually some thugs break into her home, and thus within a fight, AK Yearling is revealed to be the actual Daring Do.
AK Yearling is Daring Do! AK Yearling and Daring Do are one and the same. My mind is officially blown!
Yes, all the stories that Twilight and Dash have been reading were secretly true stories. That's quite a lot to take in. Daring Do is a real adventurer, Ahuzoto is a real villain, and the overall scheme that he plans to do is stack up all the giant rings in an Aztec temple and bring 800 years of heat. This alone is what drove the episode into the division of the fandom, and it's pretty easy to see why that is. The fact that you have an author who's also the character in the stories that she wrote is random and arbitrary, and also unsustainable to any suspension of disbelief. Questions are raised by comparing the events to the mythology of Equestria. I'm not necessarily as bothered behind it as some viewers are, but it is a concern. I can very much understand that as it is, especially since many questions and supposed plot holes were brought about. Also, before you mention this to me, yes, I saw Mr. Enter's take on the matter, and for the most part, he has some very good points, and in some cases I found this to be a nice twist, and opened itself up to being a full adventure episode that also tackled on the internal conflict with Dash and her obsessive nature. Getting back to the story, Dash tries to help out Yearling, or Daring Do at this point, but only gets her into trouble, which leaves Dash irresponsible for her actions. One of the biggest and most important highlights is Dash's obsessiveness getting the best out of her. Throughout the rest of the episode, Dash is conflicted with herself and wanted to participate in Daring's journey. Apparently this becomes an issue with her, and it's nice to see a different conflict take on this character instead of tackling on her pride all the time. Some people believe that Dash was out of character because of her fangirling over the stunning realization that Yearling is Daring Do, but for the most part, I've seen her act like this before with Spitfire and how she reacted to the second book she was going to read on Read It and Weep. At this point, I find Dash to be a little more wide open than what I originally saw her as in the past. However, the thing that bothers me is during the beginning of the episode. While Daring was looking for one of the rings, Dash rudely got on her shoulders and wanted her to finish the book. I get that it's supposed to be rude and insensitive to show that Dash's fangirlism is getting the best out of her, but it feels dismissive to me and wanted to root for her. Thankfully, it's only a small part of the episode as it eventually gets left and forgotten. Another highlight that utterly fascinated me was that it contained the mirrors of bronies. Remember in Read It and Weep that it was the parallel of becoming a brony? Well, the same social commentary applies here. At one scene, Dash and Twilight have a heated debate over the many books they've read, overlaying whether or not they should help out Daring's turmoil. This is what many analysts and reviewers like myself do from time to time. Occasionally. Okay, frequently. Similarly, Dash is excited about the next book, and it's like us being excited for the next season. Not to mention the amount of delays that have overwhelmed us when waiting for seasons 3 and 4. On top of that, watching Dash interact with Daring kind of reminds me of us interacting with the staff members at various conventions. I'm not sure if Dave intended to write it out this way or not, but if he did, I have to give him major respect for it. Additionally, I was stunned by the many action scenes throughout the whole episode. Even though at times it was comedically executed, it definitely supported the paying home watch to Indiana Jones. As I may recall, even the fight scenes in those movies were comedically timed, and I was fine with that. Those movies weren't always meant to be taken too seriously. That's another thing to take into high consideration of. The entire homage to Indiana Jones. It's a nice nod from the map viewpoint to the Aztec architecture to the double-crosser like Caballerian was. Very much like Renee Belloc was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Needless to say, I overreacted when I first saw the episode, but when watching it again, I was able to take a lot from it. Digging down to the bottom of the barrel, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was an okay episode. I am aware of how concerning the premise is, but that's as much of an issue I have with it. It alone could be the biggest complaint of the episode for sure, and I do understand so. But it doesn't bother me personally. I could say that just making the Arthur just an Arthur instead of having her as the disguise of Daring Do would have been a better choice, but it wouldn't make that much of a difference to me since both Dash and the Arthur could have had that sense of adventure either way, even though you do have to alter the dynamics. Despite being controversial though, I had to give Dave more respect here. So yeah, Mr. Enter, I'm siding with you. I too enjoyed this episode. So until the next episode, I'm GoldenFox, and I'll catch you all later.